Hello, my zebras and spoonies. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. I'm glad you are here. Today, I want to talk about the lie that every person with chronic illness tells at some point. What's the lie? I'm fine. That's right. Every person with chronic illness will tell someone that they are fine when they are not, in fact, fine. So, why do we do this? There's no easy way to answer that question. It's complicated. So let's start by looking at how this phrase is generally used and then go from there. In common usage, I'm fine is generally a positive way of saying there's nothing particularly wrong. Yet it also means that there isn't anything particularly right, well, or good either. This is a way of saying that things are just okay, meaning that they could be better or they could be worse. It generally implies that you are not having any significant problems in your life, though. The first thing to keep in mind with this phrase is the idea of context and frame of reference. When using the phrase, I'm fine, someone with chronic illness can be using it in the same manner as described above. When having a good pain day, saying I'm fine pretty much means the same as it does for everyone else. We're saying that there is nothing particularly wrong and that we're okay. No significant problems today because it's a good pain day. But there are many times that we use this phrase and we're not using it the same as the common usage. Sometimes we say we are fine because we are having a difficult day and we're trying to help ourselves cope better. I'm fine is a lie that we tell in order to help us bolster ourselves when we need to get things done, even when we're having a hard time. It can serve like a little pep talk. If we said out loud how hard our day is, we would risk the floodgates opening, and that would likely mean that nothing would get done that day. So we say we're fine so that we can get things done. There are times that we say I'm fine when we are not fine because we don't want to explain how we are not fine. Sometimes it seems impossible to explain this to someone who doesn't have our diagnoses, and just the idea of explaining it can feel really overwhelming. There are also times that there just isn't any benefit to making those kinds of connections. And I'll admit that I pretty much always use this at work because I'm not getting to get into how awful that I feel with an acquaintance at work. There really isn't any benefit for them or me in this explanation, so it just isn't worth my spoons. Sometimes we just don't have the spoons to give an explanation. In this case, we use I'm fine because there really isn't anything else to say. Maybe I don't want to talk about it can work, but that usually leads to the other person trying to get you to talk about it, which is super annoying. There are times that we are feeling crappy and we are also feeling emotional about how crappy we're feeling, and those emotions cost us spoons to regulate and to process. And going into an explanation of how we are feeling during those times can cost a ton of spoons that we just don't have. Guilt is also a factor in why we use the phrase I'm fine when we are in fact not fine. There are times that we feel like we are complaining too much or that we are being a burden because of our symptoms. During these times, we will avoid talking about how we are feeling so that we can reduce this sense of guilt. Because it doesn't matter how awesome a relationship is or how supportive a person is, there is a limit to how much support that they can give us and how much they can help us. We try not to push people to that limit because we are afraid that it will result in losing relationships. Then there is the very real social interaction where people will ask you how you are feeling when they really don't care about the answer. It is a strange social piece in our culture, and I really wish people wouldn't ask me how I'm feeling when they don't have time for the answer or don't care about the answer. Like when you're passing someone in the hallway at work, why? Why ask me how I'm doing in that moment? We both know that you aren't looking for an actual answer. And this is a time for I'm fine response, regardless of how I'm feeling. Because there's no point in me telling someone that my pain is high or that I've been struggling with my heart rate when they aren't looking for how I'm actually doing anyway. The thing about I'm fine that I find upsetting is what the implications are for our society. For whatever reason in our culture, it is never all right to be anything but good or fine. Well, the human experience doesn't work that way, and with around 60% of American adults having a chronic illness, it is likely that most people are not fine when they tell you that they are fine. In truth, even if you're able bodied, it is likely that you are oftentimes not fine. So, why isn't it okay to be not fine in our culture? I think that we would do better if we could be more honest and supportive of each other. Imagine how amazing work would be if we started each shift with a check in that genuinely considered how we could best support each other through that shift. Not only would we all be happier at work, we would all be able to perform better at work. So, why isn't this a thing? Well, that's about it for my rambling today. Thanks for coming and spending time with me. If you like the video, please give it a like. It really does help. And until we talk again, you guys take care of yourselves. Bye.